Hey everyone, it's Sarah here. And if you've ever been told your cholesterol is high, you've been dealing with high cholesterol, and like that your doctors suggested getting on a statin, or, even if you're dealing with low energy, stubborn weight, hormone imbalances, blood sugar struggles, this live today is for you. And it's because I'm breaking down a huge myth that I see has been costing people their health and vitality for decades. I myself included in this, and I'm constantly seeing it in clients. And in my opinion, this is one of the biggest misses in the medical industry. Now, let's be clear here, I'm not a doctor, medical doctor, giving medical advice. Um, my expertise is in metabolic science and nutrition, and so I am here providing information from my point of view, which is metabolic science. And from what I understand, doctors don't in practicing doctors in medical school don't receive a lot of nutrition education. We're told, I don't personally know what they receive, but this what we're talking about today is advanced nutrition. So I don't know, like metabolic pathways. Like this is probably 20 years old. A text 30, a old text I have from my doctorate studies, and this is just really the fundamental knowledge of how the body produces energy from food, converts food into energy, and this fuels life. These are the functions that fuel life, the biochemical reactions that are directly involved in our nutrition and what we eat from food. So whatever is learned, the information we're learning today is going to be coming from the metabolic textbooks that tell us how our body works. And that's what we're doing here each week, is learning how our body works. And today's topic is on the topic of cholesterol, why it's not the enemy. And it's really villainized in pretty much all of medical and nutritional science even. And it's not the real culprit behind heart disease. We're going to be talking about what the real culprit is behind heart disease, diabetes, hormone imbalance, thyroid issues. Um, the real culprit has to do with the liver. The liver being sluggish, the liver being congested, and blocked detoxification pathways. And on that note, today at 2 p.m. kicks off my free 5-day challenge to flush out these detoxification pathways. So this is the cause, poor detoxification, the true cause of health imbalances, health conditions, health diseases, diseases, lack of health. So if you resonate with what I'm talking about today, it's not too late to get in on this private coaching container. Every day at 2 p.m. Eastern, I'm doing a live coaching call going through the 4 main detoxification pathways. So we'll be diving in deeper a little bit into what I'm covering today and other key systems in the body designed to get waste out of the body. So if you have symptoms like excess weight, hormone imbalance like PCOS, high cholesterol, low thyroid, or imbalanced thyroid, this is the root cause that you've been missing, what we're talking about today. But jump on in the challenge that starts today, and we're going to help activate your body to do what it is designed to do: eliminate toxins, heal, and thrive. But today, we are talking about cholesterol and what's at the root of that. And let me just paint you a picture of what we're talking about. Then we're going to dig and go into it. But, like, okay, imagine Every time the smoke detector goes off, every time every time there's a fire in the kitchen, every time the fire is in the kitchen, the smoke detector goes off. And every time it goes off, you just go rip the smoke detector off the wall, take the batteries out. That's basically how we treat cholesterol. Cholesterol is the fire detector. Cholesterol rises in the body as a protective response to inflammation. So just like the smoke alarms going off isn't the problem, it's the warning. And so we're just attacking the messenger. Actually, we're attacking our body's messaging system. The fire, that's liver congestion, which causes toxins to get overloaded in the body, because when the liver's congested, it's not doing its job. And its job includes detoxifying the body. So if the liver's congested, we have poor detoxification. And what are the other jobs of the liver? Well, we have blood sugar regulation, so that's going to be off. And it could be any of these or all of these or just some of these. But if blood sugar, can't get into the liver, it's just going to stay in the bloodstream. And the liver is also where we make most of our energy. We convert most of our energy from nutrition, from food into energy. And so if the liver is too congested, we can't make energy. So we're going to be suffering at a real cellular level, because we're not making any energy, not getting the nutrients into the mitochondria. But so that's what the liver's going on. But what does this have to do with cholesterol? Well, I'm going to dive into it in a minute, but when it comes to heart disease, this is the real problem, because cholesterol is processed by the liver. So that's one of the things that's going to be staying in the bloodstream. So if you have high cholesterol, then this is potentially why it's your liver. So you're kind of put into this category of heart disease, or you have to go on statins. Here's some facts about cholesterol. Over 50% of people hospitalized for heart attacks have normal cholesterol, so it's not necessarily correlated to a predictor. But if you have been told that high cholesterol is the cause of cause of heart disease, then this is part of the myth that's keeping you sick. And before I dive into what's really going on here, if your interest is piqued and you want to know exactly what's going on, what's on fire in your kitchen, go ahead and book a strategy session with me, a holistic strategy session. We are going to look into what's going on in your body and map out, what it's needing. But back to what I was saying, what's really going on in the body. Okay, look, so here's what's really happening in the body, so that you can understand, this is the picture in full. Be fully aware. So cholesterol is not the enemy, as I said. It is an essential nutrient. Okay. What does it do? It repairs tissues. It makes hormones. Let's write this down. Cholesterol. It repairs tissues. That's key. Remember that one. So I'm writing it down. It makes hormones. It really is involved in processing and making a lot of the different hormones that are made in the liver. So it makes hormones like this estrogen and different processes hormones. And then it also builds brain and nerve cells. So it's cholesterol. This is part of protecting and insulating the brain and the nervous system. also very important. And then it also produces, it's involved in vitamin D synthesis. And we know vitamin D is involved in the immune system, and it's an important vitamin that we make in our body actually makes. It's called the sunshine vitamin, but it's made through collaboration with cholesterol. So we got these main functions of cholesterol, and most of the cholesterol is made in the liver. So let's understand that. It's not from food. Most of the cholesterol in our body doesn't come from diet. It's made in our body. But statins block the cholesterol production. So that's what they do. They block the production of cholesterol. But we have to look at and consider at what cost. And so if we have cholesterol performing, we aren't going to get tissues repaired, so tissues aren't going to be regenerating. We're not going to be making and processing hormones efficiently. And this is why you see brain fog and memory issues, and dementia is associated with cholesterol use. Statin use. And this is why, because it's blocking these vital functions in the body. So what's the real issue? What do we do? What's the real issue? What's going on? As I mentioned, the issue isn't cholesterol. That's not the villain. Cholesterol is considered the villain because it blocks arteries. It's blocking those arteries for a reason, though. As I mentioned, let's also consider, so I feel like I need to draw a lot today. Here's the liver. I just have the liver here. Okay, and then the liver, what does the liver do? It converts, so it's connected to the thyroid. It helps process thyroid hormones. It converts T4 to T3. So if your liver's sluggish, there's one thing, it's thyroid hormone. That's something the liver is doing. Boom. Thyroid hormone. It also regulates blood sugar and insulin. So it takes, the insulin takes the glucose out of the blood, takes it to the liver to process and turn it into energy. So blood sugar. Okay, and then also it processes hormones and toxins. These are the things that the liver does. The liver is our body's main filter. It is filtering all the waste, all the toxins. It's the number one organ that is getting the toxins out of the body. So it processes hormones, and keeps the hormone cycle regular, because it gets rid of excess hormones. If hormones start cycling back and not leaving the body as waste, but stay in circulation, this is what causes hormone imbalance, because it sends a feedback loop to stop producing hormones. But you got dirty hormones cycling, so it's a problem in hormone imbalance, PCOS. That's what we're seeing. So we got hormones here, and it also packages cholesterol and gets it out of the body, unhealthy cholesterol. So that's what the liver's doing. All of that stuff. Thyroid, blood sugar, hormones. Oops, I forgot cholesterol. All right. Great. So this is what the liver does. Now the liver matters, a lot. And if you have sluggish liver, what you're going to see is high LDL, low HDL, because it's not getting the LDL. That's the bad cholesterol. The liver, when working properly, is keeping LDL, HDL ratios optimal. But here we're going to see unhealthy cholesterol rising. We're going to see elevated blood sugar, because none of these things can get into the liver. It's like the in is closed. I'm not really keeping this. Okay. Okay, I guess I wanted to keep I'll just erase this up here. I guess we moved on from what cholesterol does. So we're going to see poor thyroid conversion. So if you have low thyroid, the liver might be the culprit. If you have high blood sugar and those conditions associated with that, the liver might be the culprit. If you have hormone imbalances, because the hormones are processed by the liver, so if they're not, they're going to stay in circulation and cause imbalance, because the organs, the brain, and is not going to produce the hormones. It's like, all right, we already got some in circulation. We don't need to make more. So we get hormone imbalances, and we get high cholesterol because the liver is sluggish. So what happens if you address sluggish liver? I mean, this would be where I would think we would start, so that we can get cholesterol into the liver. We can get hormones into the liver. We can get blood sugar into the liver. And we don't have to start medicating for all these things. You see, we're missing the root cause. We're blocking this vital nutrient. So I'm about to get deeper here. This is just the beginning. But most people, there's a lot of people that are dependent on medications for these things, stuck with imbalances in these conditions that could probably all be resolved if we were to tend to the sluggish liver. But let's consider why the liver gets sluggish. Why does that happen? I mean, we have food, we have diet, chronic consumption of processed food, sugar, alcohol, and other toxins from the environment. The liver has to process all of that. So if you're just eating all that stuff, eating crap all day, toxic food, unhealthy food, then your liver's going to get backed up. Okay. And then honestly, also being stressed out, like chronically, it's raising your cortisol, and that really impairs liver detox, because now the liver's got all this cortisol to process. So chronic stress really doesn't do your liver any favors. But the big issue most of the time that I see with clients with the most detriment, and I think if we were to look at the patients of heart cardiovascular disease and diabetic patients, and even mental people with anxiety, depression, and some mental disorders, I think we would find the MTHFR mutation. This is a genetic polymorphism, a genetic variant that is very common, but it limits our body's ability to get rid of toxins, to detoxify. And so if you have that mutation, your detox pathways, your liver specifically, can get jammed up. And this has to do with B vitamin pathways. And so let's talk a little bit about this. And this MTHFR, that's what it's called. It stands for methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase. It's an enzyme. And it is what it sounds like, the MTHFR, because it is so detrimental. It is the underlying cause of so much imbalance in the body that we see, because it is this key process the body uses to detoxify, to make neurotransmitters and process hormones. So people with MTHFR mutations have a harder time with, they are more prone to hormone imbalances, fatigue, anxiety, depression, weight issues, sensitivity, being oversensitive, hypersensitive, sensitive to supplements, just sensitive in general. They can have a history or be more prone to miscarriages, infertility, blood clotting issues, because they can't clear toxins. That's why. People with MTHFR mutations have a harder time clearing toxins. I'm one of these people. I've had hormone imbalances since I was young, which led to later gut health challenges, autoimmune, um, and thinking I needed to be on hormones and stuff like that for the rest of my life. And let me tell you, by tending to my liver, that's not true. I am I am medication free. Um, I take only food-based supplements. So people with the MTHFR mutations have a harder time metabolizing, and this is like 50% of the population, probably more. But they have a harder time metabolizing folic acid and something called homocysteine. And this is the real issue with what's going on with cardiovascular disease. But I need to mention the folic acid thing first because they have a harder time metabolizing folic acid because that MTHFR, I'm going to write it here. This is an enzyme that is used in the B vitamin metabolic process. And it metabolizes folate. Oh God, is it folate? Yeah, into this. So folate becomes this. And then this metabolizes B12. Helps B12 break down and this has to do with the body's detox system. So we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of the metabolic pathways here by any means, but I do want to, this is very important. So, how do I, okay, yeah, I'm just going to draw it right here. Bear with me. We have, yeah. I think I just need to re-erase. I have to destroy my work of art with the liver. Okay, so we have homocysteine. Yeah, okay, here it is. Methionine. And then B12. Okay, and then folate. Okay. Yeah. It's been a little bit of time since I have MTS remembered what this pathway is, but I got it here. Okay. What the heck is this? Okay, so this is all happening very cellular. This is how your body kind of gets rid of waste. This is a bit major waste removal pathway. B12, so folate kind of comes in and it is converted into this enzyme that helps, I guess, did I do this right? Homocysteine, which is an amino acid, get converted to this thing called methionine, which is like, this is amino acid metabolism and energy production. But what happens if you are lacking this, which that's what happens is we're lacking this, okay, oopsie, then this doesn't get converted to this. And this is crucial for removing waste because the methionine, that's involved in getting the waste out of the body. But then also this kind of thing called homocysteine stays in circulation. And this is a problem because this thing is just kind of sharp and it stays in circulation. And so if you go get your labs done and you have high homocysteine, that is an indicator that you have this genetic variant. And there's some easy things that we can do about it, but it's very important because you're going to be the one having the sluggish liver, hormone imbalances, weight issues, immune health issues, all pretty much issues stem from the body not being able to eliminate waste. But what's happening here with homocysteine is this guy's in circulation, and this is damaging the blood vessels. It's sharp and it damages the blood vessels. That's why we don't want to have a lot of it. So then along comes happy little cholesterol into the picture to repair the damage. So why are we targeting this guy? It's got to repair the damage, but why wouldn't we look deeper and address? Because when I tell you this is not hard to address, this is a genetic issue, but all we got to do is take the right vitamins. We have to take the right form of folate. We got to put more folate into the picture. Not folic acid, however. Folic acid, this needs this to turn to folic acid. So it's just we need a specific form of folate. Because so this is why supplementation can be problematic with vitamins and minerals, like a multivitamin or a B vitamin, or even just taking folic acid, a multivitamin that has folic acid in it, is damaging you, because unmetabolized folic acid can build up and create problems. Homocysteine builds up and creates problems. So much toxins build up and create problems. So we are really missing the picture here. Why are we attacking this guy? We gotta look deeper, put some more folate. So what I do, and I think why my symptoms have gone away mostly, I don't struggle with hormone imbalance anymore. A lot of mental processes I notice are more regulated when I take a methylated form of, I take a B complex, and I don't promote, I don't know that this is actually a cheap one that I can get. I don't know if it's the best, but I do recommend it a lot. But it's all of the B forms are methylated, but it has L-methyl tetrahydrofolate. That's what you want to look for. You want to look make sure you don't have folic acid. But that's if you have this mutation. You got to know if you have this mutation. How do you know if you have this mutation? You can take a blood test. You can take a genetic test. You can talk to me. I can help you figure it out. But yeah, it's homocysteine. Let's go back to that, because it's the cause of increased disease risk. It's the cause of heart disease because it damages blood vessels. It promotes plaque. That's why we have buildup. We don't need to be taking statins for cholesterol. We won't have the issue if we address the liver and everything happening in the liver. Cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia. That's what we get when we take statins. Now, I'm not saying people haven't benefited from statins, but if you're looking at cholesterol as the marker of your health, you're not doing enough. Chronic inflammation, high because of homocysteine. Fatigue and mood disorders. Pregnancy complications. All of these things are caused by high homocysteine. So you can get that easily checked in your labs, and that is the biggest indicator that you have potentially the genetic variant, but you can also go right to the source and get your genes checked. But yeah, the liver plays such an important role in converting folic acid to the active form methylfolate. So this is what you're going to want to look for in your vitamins is, I think it's usually 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, something like that. That's what you want to look for. Now you don't want to. You can also overmethylate. So it's good to know if you have this. But if you have the symptoms we spoke of, you most likely have this. And you can just get your blood, see if homocysteine has been high. Also check what your liver enzymes have been doing. Are they ALT, AST, I forget what the ALT, AP, liver alkaline phosphatase, ALP. Anyway, those are the liver enzymes. So if they're low or high, that is also an indication that the liver is overburdened from toxins, stress, whatever. So as I mentioned, what you want to do, choose methylated forms of supplements, not folic acid. The problem is folic acid is added to bread, grains. It's fortified. A lot of our food products are fortified with folic acid. Imagine this. This is a problem. If half the population has a gene that prevents them from metabolizing it, and then the buildup of it could cause a lot of problems, and does cause, well, oops. Why are we missing this? This isn't buried. This is 30. I mean, this knowledge is decades. I mean, 100. I don't know how old, but it's not new. That's the point. And I know cardiovascular doctors know about this. What's going on? So check your homocysteine, support your liver. How do we support the liver? Well, got to detoxify the liver, but if that's the problem, if it's not detoxifying, we got to support it with proper nutrition. We can't just force the body to detox. We can't just go on a crazy juice detox or cleanse if the body's not eliminating toxins to begin with. But staying hydrated is always crucial. That's a problem and a challenge also as well these days. Most hot water is dehydrating. What the heck are we going to do, guys? There's problems everywhere we turn. But hey, we're figuring it all out here in Gut Restoration Project, because it's all about regenerating the body, giving it what it needs to do, what it's designed to do, and simply reminding it. And so I found a great way to remind it is turning on neurological pathways through kinesiology and the neurological integration system work I do. So this is great for healing any part of the body. Hey, if you want to figure out what's going on, what is at the root of your issues, it could be liver, it could be something else, but let's book a call and figure it out. If you want to join my challenge that starts today, there is a VIP option where you can get a session with me among many other things, amazing offers, but for all of it's for $99, which is less than a session with me is. So just another reason to get on that and join us. If you can't make it live, reach out. Maybe I am doing replays, but if you do the VIP option, you'll get lifetime access to this valuable information. It's all health issues are, in my opinion, caused by poor detoxification. So if we address this, the vital organs, the liver, the kidney, the lymphatic system, the digestive system, we can usually find a way to bring the body back into balance and eliminate symptoms at the root. So I know because I did it myself, this is how I healed when I couldn't heal from SIBO, chronic SIBO, autoimmune conditions flaring, just constant infections, constant, I felt a nightmare of existence. But I finally started applying the information I knew as a metabolic scientist, but in a holistic context. So looking at the whole body and the way, also the energy and the way energy flows. If you actually talk, you can use kinesiology to talk to the body, quite literally, and just figure out what it needs to heal. That's the best way to heal, in my opinion, is that we are just de-stressing, at figuring out how we need to remove stresses, bringing the body back into a state of balance where it can function as it's designed. It just stresses preventing it from doing that. But what's stressing it out? Toxins. So instead of attacking cholesterol at the summary, it's important to support liver drainage, the liver's ability to detox. I work with people one-on-one to activate, is there a genetic reason? What do we have to do to turn, all genes are a switch. That we have our genes that we have inherited, but our lifestyles flip the switch. So genetics loads the gun, environment pulls the trigger, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So let's get your genes right. Also opening up in that proper nutrition is the best way to support detoxification, the way the detox pathways, how we get elimination, how do we get toxins out. Nutrition is important, but this is where I work in the trenches, because if your gut is inflamed or damaged, you're not getting those nutrients in, meaning your detox pathways are not going to, you're not getting those nutrients in, meaning the toxins are staying in. So you need the nutrients in to get the toxins out. How can you do that if your gut is damaged? You got to heal the gut. So I have many solutions, many programs to do this. Some of them founded in superfood nutrition that works better than any protocol I have tried personally. I've tried them all. None of them worked. Elemental diet, FODMAP's diet, all this stuff, elimination diets, all the crazy diets out there. I've done them all. The problem was, even despite having liver enzymes out of whack on my blood labs for years, pretty much as far as I can remember, never was my liver addressed. Instead, put on from the young age of 12, before I was even a teenager, put on antibiotics for acne, birth control, for decades. What do you think that did for my liver? That's why my gut health suffered. My liver was completely overlooked in the process. And I'm somebody with expertise in this stuff, so we got to take control. We got to put health, understanding, knowledge is power, but also action, putting that knowledge into action steps. So if you join the challenge, we are not only sharing knowledge, we are doing the action, doing the thing, doing what we need to do. And sometimes each person has a different thing they need to do. So I assign a specific thing that you need to do for your specific pathway that needs the most attention. The body speaks in priority, and that by paying attention to the subtle requests of the body in this way, then we can really honor its needs to heal and let it guide us. So yes, the liver, by the way, is good news. I think it regenerates fully every 2 weeks, something crazy like that. So if your liver's damaged, hey, it's not the end of the story. So hey, I want to see you guys all in my challenge that starts today. Sign up. I'll drop the link if you haven't yet. And I hope this has been educational. I mean, I see this constantly. I mean, liver's usually the liver and the lymphatic system are the number one detox pathways I see clogged, but the liver's almost always, it's an MTHFR situation. There's other detoxification pathways too, and they can get inhibited as well. But it's when those stubborn mystery, like hormones, I went through my whole life thinking, experiencing firsthand that our medical doctors do not seem to understand the way hormones work. I learned that That's why I've studied nutrition. That's why was drawn to this, because my hormones were wacky and I was not getting the attention I needed. Um, so I've always been aware of that. And then, looking at it's very easy. It's very easy to see this. You don't need a degree in metabolic science to see this. You just need to know what the organs do. That's all you need to know. So that's what we're learning. I could keep rambling. If you're intrigued, want to know more about, if you're struggling with anything I mentioned today, high cholesterol, hormone imbalance, diabetes, let's talk about it. I'm just here telling you how things work. And in the Gut Mastery program, we focus on giving your body the, what it needs, what it's saying it needs. We're paying attention to that on a whole new level. So we can heal from any condition fast. It's simply about understanding what's happening. So thanks for joining if you're still here, and I will see you if you're in the challenge today at 2:00 in just a little over an hour. So talk to you then. Bye.